Hello, everyone. We are excited to be with you. This is Gabe and Melissa Kolstad, and we are coming to you from Portland, Oregon. Actually, we're out on the coast right now, but we're excited to be sharing with you about building the marriage you've always wanted. And we've been together for quite some time. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk a little bit about our family life and some of the things that we've found to be super helpful when it comes to building a marriage that not just that we have, but that we want to have. And that's been part of our journey, is that we really like each other and we like being together. And we've just found some things that have helped that happen. So I want to give a second for Melissa to introduce a little bit more about us and how we met and some of those things.
All right. Well, I know we're starting a little bit early, so I know people are still popping on right now, so I don't want to jump too quickly. Yeah, we are the Kolstads, and we have 3 kids. Dawson is 21 years old, and Caitlin is 19 years old, and Caleb is 16 years old. So we're almost empty nesters.
Getting close.
Getting close.
So close.
So close. I can taste it. But yes. But yeah, no, we met when we were young. I was 13 when we met, so it's been a long time, and I'm only 15 now. No, just
Right.
kidding. No, but we've been married for 25 years, and so we've been together a long time, and it's been a great journey, and we've learned some stuff along the way. We're excited to share a few things with you tonight.
Absolutely. And as you might already have seen in the post and the announcement, we serve at Westside Community Church in Portland, Oregon, or in Beaverton, Oregon, actually. And we've been working with couples for a long, long time, and it's been part of something that we really love. So we're grateful for all of you who are jumping on, because this is really one of our favorite things to do, is just talk about how do we make our relationships great, especially I think right now in the news and in the culture and with the vibe of everything going on. It's so easy to feel down
negative.
Yeah, so negative all the time.
Yeah.
But there's so much good news, and we can live that out. So that's what we really want to do with you guys. And so we're going to kind of share a little bit with you from our new book. We just wrote a book called You're My Favorite. It's about building the marriage you've always wanted, and it's out on Amazon if you're interested. And
why do we pick the name, though?
You're My Favorite. Yeah, that should say that.
We say that all the time to each other. You're my favorite.
Yeah.
I always have your back. You're my favorite. And so that's why we decided, hey, let's name the book You're My Favorite.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've kind of condensed, for us at least, the things that we've learned over the years, the key pieces and components that have made the big difference for us. And we're just going to dive into one of those in this devotional. And we want to share some of the reasons why we see that, some scripture passages that have helped us to kind of come to the conclusions that we've come to. And the first component that we want to share with you is on friendship. That's really such a big deal in building a strong marriage, is friendship. And we find that so many couples overlook this component. They get into marriage really more, either out of obligation sometimes, or even out of more of a romantic thing.
Right, yeah.
Or sometimes out of more of a contract kind of situation. Mm-hmm. And we're finding that God sees marriage a little more like a friendship. Obviously, there's the commitment piece, and we know God wants us to be committed to one another. But friendship is such a different, unique take on it. And so we want to kind of explore that a little bit. We've got some thoughts we want to share with you. I think it's kind of interesting when we think about friendship, we think about our childhood. And Melissa has kind of a fun backdrop for this.
So you guys probably had some best friends back in the day too, where you guys did songs together and you roller skated together, if you're my age. And and you did all these fun things, and you did all this collab together. You played together, and it was just so much fun. And her name was Shiloh. And we just played constantly with Strawberry Shortcake Dolls. It was like our thing. And I was like lemon meringue, and she was strawberry shortcake, and we wrote a song about it, and I'm not going to sing it to you, but it was super fun. And we just had so much fun building memories together. When I look back at my childhood, so many of my memories are of her. And so it was just really a special time of building friendship.
Yeah, and I mean, again, when you think about marriage, sometimes you don't think about friendship as much. And that's kind of a shame, because because friendship is a part, it can be such a big part of marriage.
Yeah.
And we want to talk about some 4 kind of factors in friendship. So the first factor is what we feel is common interests, that common interest can be this thing that pulls us together.
Yeah.
And once again, in marriage, sometimes we're looking more at like what there's to do, especially if you've got kids at home, especially if you got young kids. We realize this piece you probably need more than anybody else if you've got young kids at home, because can't the kids and the tasks and the laundry and
everything gets in the way. Yeah.
start to kind of dominate our thinking. But common interest is really important. And as Melissa mentioned with her friend Shiloh, they found something that they love together. And, there was all those things, the roller skating, the strawberry shortcake dolls and all those things. But when it comes to marriage, we gotta work at this, right? We gotta work at finding those common interests. And sometimes it's like she's got her thing, he's got his thing.
Right, and the two shall never come together.
Right, and we come together, for what? For sleeping.
Yeah.
Come together for serving the kids. But when do we come together to be friends?
Yeah.
And friendship is usually starts with common interest.
Yeah.
Something that
Spending
we
time
find
together.
enjoyable together.
Mm-hmm.
Paul the Apostle was talking about this in the New Testament of the Bible in Philippians 1. And he shares this passage. He says, it's right that I should feel like I do about all of you. And they had found these common interests of, suffering together, but suffering well together, of thinking about making their city better together, and about loving one another together. So they had these common interests that made them feel like they had a friendship base to work off of. Right. And that's the kind of things that we need, we think, in marriage.
Oh, well, yes.
So you want to share that insight there?
Sharing comes before feeling.
Yeah, we found that a lot of times we look at our marriages and we go, oh, I just don't feel in love anymore. Yeah. And every marriage goes through those times. But what we forget is that sharing comes before feeling, that we need that time of sharing a common interest before we're going to feel attractiveness or closeness.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of times people, if there's a issue or there's like a lack of feelings, a lot of people will actually just make the chasm bigger by not approaching it or not spending time together and just complaining about it, and the chasm gets bigger and bigger and bigger, instead of coming together and saying, okay, what can we do together to spend time together? Let's re-find our love again, and let's go maybe to the beach for the weekend, or let's go out to a nice dinner, have a conversation. There's lots of ways to do this. Let's go do hiking, which is one of our common interests that we like to do, and that just brings you together. And the more you do that, the more your feelings are going to come back, and you're going to start feeling, oh yeah, that's what I love about that person, instead of being like, oh my gosh, he's so annoying.
Not that she's ever said that about
Never.
me. Never. In fact, we are currently at the Oregon coast. We live in Beaverton, Oregon. It's about, hour and 45 minutes from the beach. And we were at our church this morning. We decided we're going to sneak away after church. We've got a 16-year-old who we're trusting is, staying at home alone tonight. But we decided let's come out to the beach because we wanted to hang out, because we love coming to the beach. And while we're on the way here, we were driving in the car, and it's so interesting to me how when we're driving, we have the best talks. It's just something about it. And I always joke like it's because we're not looking at each other, but there's some pressures off. And, it's kind of that sharing comes before feeling thing, where it's like when we're shoulder to shoulder, maybe we're hiking, maybe we're working on some project, whatever it is, but the shoulder to shoulder seems like then it makes way for the face to face. Like we want to be closer when we have had some common interest. So that's something for us just to think about, and if you're currently married or thinking about getting married, maybe your marriage is going great, maybe it's not going great. One of the things to always look at is, are we building common interests so that we can have something to go back to?
Yeah.
I'll let Melissa share the second.
The second one is curiosity. And this is kind of funny because when Gabe and I'm Italian, and when Gabe and I first got married, I just could not stand olives. I love olive oil, but I did not like olives. And he thought that was so crazy. He says, Italians have to love olives.
Right.
Well, I guess I just wasn't legit. But through the years, I started liking olives, and I changed. There's different seasons, and there's different times you try things. And so being a student of your spouse, I think is really, really good. Important, because he changes, I change. We don't just get married and stay the exact same forever. We're always evolving and changing. And so I think staying up on top of that and just paying attention to each other and kind of, evolving together kind of makes things work. And so being curious about your spouse, what's different with him or what's a new thing with him or her or whatever.
Yeah.
And just kind of being curious with each other so you can continue to grow and understand each other is kind of the key at that point.
Yeah, it's like an interesting thing happened recently. Melissa got a new job. Yeah. And we're just in this season. We're kind of in a season where we have 3 kids. 2 of them are out of the house. One of them's 21, one of them's 19. And so we have one left at home. He's 16. As I mentioned, we deserted him and abandoned him tonight by himself. No, he's totally fine. But,
he's with his girlfriend at her parents' house.
Yeah,
so.
they're being supervised, which is good.
Supervised, yeah.
But in the season, we've been both kind of asking different questions. And one of the things that Melissa started being interested in was working for this particular organization that helps women in trouble. And this was sort of new for me because this was a new kind of interest that she had. And I actually had to back up because I started to kind of hold you accountable to some of the things we had said before. You liked your freedom and in terms of that stuff and wanted a little more extra time
and
available.
Stay home with the kids until they graduate. Right. Yeah.
But it's a new time and we have to learn to kind of be that student to go oh, God's doing something in her heart. She wants to explore this. I should allow that, For me, I've been a very variety person my whole life.
And I am not.
And she's a routine person,
Mostly
right?
a routine person.
But I noticed that I'm actually craving more routine now than I ever have. And so I find myself doing the same things over and over again. And I'm like, what are you doing? You're supposed to be the variety person, But just that idea that we would go, look, this is like going deep sea diving. There's always going to be something to explore about your spouse because they're a living being that's changing and growing, and there's things about them that God is doing in their life, and so there's no reason to think that they're you memorize a checklist of what they're about. No, it's about going on a journey for life and having that curiosity stay the same.
And being okay with the changes as they come, because sometimes we can get defensive about it. Well, wait a second, you never did this before, or you weren't like this before. And just kind of being, flexible, have a little grace with each other on those areas.
Yeah, because we go back to, we started dating really young. We were 13 and 14. We started dating back when you had to pay for long-distance phone calls.
Yes. Oh,
and our parents...
We got so much trouble.
Oh, my gosh, so much trouble. The phone bills were too much, But we would sit on the phone for hours and ask each other questions. We were so curious about everything, right?
Yeah.
And at some point, that tips over and turns into boredom. But that's a choice that we have to make. We have to stay curious. We love Song of Solomon in the Old Testament of the Bible. It's kind of PG, or maybe PG-13, maybe R. I don't know. But yeah, it's definitely got some racy stuff in it. But in that book, which is sort of about love and romance, it says, "You are my private garden, my treasure, my bride, a secluded spring, a hidden fountain." And it's like, man, that's beautiful language that talks about somebody who's passionately fascinated with another person. And why shouldn't marriage be like that, right? I mean, we're 25 years in. Our prayer is that we've got another 75 years of marriage to go. We want to celebrate our 100th anniversary in Rome. And all of you are invited just for being on this live event. It'll be July 15th, 2095. And we'll be there in Rome. We'll have all fake body parts. It's just going to be awesome. But between now and then, we'll change a lot, and we're excited about just seeing
being
that
humans
coming.
And the insight.
Yeah, so the insight here is curiosity drives learning, which drives friendship. And we can keep driving that by simply asking questions, noticing new things, supporting those new things, and all of that. So that's the second one.
Yeah, go third.
Okay, third is care. We got to learn to care for each other. And, I suppose in many ways, there's that honeymoon phase of marriage. If we were all in a room together, I'd say raise your hand if you're, just married or within the first year or two of marriage. And one of the things that happens is it's kind of cute, like the first time or two that Melissa picked up my socks on the floor, in the bedroom and put them into the hamper. It's probably kind of cute. It's probably like, oh my gosh, we're married. This is so cute. Yeah. About time number 3, it got old, right?
Yeah.
And so there's a time when we sort of tip over to like, God, take care of yourself, we naturally don't keep caring for each other. But I think our calling is definitely to care for one another. And when you think about friendship, going back to friendship, and friends care for each other.
Right.
That's just what they do.
Right.
And you want to read you reference the thought about David and Jonathan?
So David and Jonathan in the Old Testament of the Bible were best friends. And Jonathan's dad had an issue
Yeah.
with his best friend David and actually wanted to kill him. And Jonathan told David of the plan so David could go hide and protect himself and be safe. Now that's serious care. And I know that that's a little extreme, but I'm just saying we want to care for each other. When I have a friend that's sick or in the hospital or hungry or hurt, I want to help. I want to care for them. I want to be in the person to help in need. And sometimes when we're in a long relationship with someone, we kind of turn off the care button and be like, take care of yourself. I'm done. You're annoying me. I'm over this. But we have to remember that care piece shows such deep friendship because we care and look out for each other. So care is hugely important.
It is. In this season that we've been in, and I'm sure you've had your own pressures in this last year, COVID has been difficult for everybody. Many families have struggled financially. Many families have struggled with time management, all the things. Everyone has Zoom fatigue and video call fatigue, and thank you for crying out loud for being willing to be on another video thing in this season. Obviously, we'd all prefer to be in person in some way, but there's been a lot of difficult times, and one of the things that has happened for us is that in our difficult times, in fact, I really appreciate Melissa because one of the things that she always says to me, and I have it written down right here, it says, she always goes like, when I'm having a hard time or carrying an extra load, she comes up to me and she says, it's you and me, babe. And she always reminds me that no matter what happens, no matter what changes we might make or need to make, no matter what pressures out there, being, for me, a pastor, for her, she's got 2 jobs, and all of these things, and that we're carrying a load. But I appreciate the fact that if I walked away from my career, if I didn't succeed at what I'm supposed to be doing in my job, that she would still be telling me, it's you and me, babe.
That's right.
And that's that care that I think is so important. It reminds me that her heart is with me, and that's not about performance. That's about personhood. That's about because we said we loved each other and because we're committed to one another. So
you don't have to earn your way with me.
Right. And that's really cool because that's what friends do. If you think back to some of your best friendships, again, we think, like, why not apply those principles to the most important relationship that you have, your marriage, and see how great that will make it, because it really changes things. We found that care is the outward expression of inner love, and there's ways we can care. There's a few things that we wrote down. One of them is confidentiality. Man, this is really important when it comes to in-laws or family. If you think about conversations you might have with your spouse, or fights that you might have with your spouse, disagreements, questions, all of those things. The one of the worst things we can do is go take that to a family member, particularly an in-law, and complain, or share something that they didn't want us to share.
Right, but also even worse than that, I think, is almost when you puke on Facebook or social media about how terrible your significant other is. Oh boy.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
That just ruins it. Oh boy.
And that's the second thing that we wrote down was dignity. The idea that I want to uphold Melissa's dignity. Yeah. Even if I don't agree with something she said or did, I want to uphold her dignity, because the worst thing is trying to come back from public humiliation. And if that came from your spouse, that puts a wedge in your relationship. Yeah. It would even in a regular friendship, let alone a marriage. So that dignity, and then love and respect.
Love and respect is huge. Yeah.
If you haven't read the book Love and Respect by Emerson Eggerichs, that's just a fantastic. We've learned a lot from that book. Yeah. Talks about how that's a cycle of love. We can love each other, and then we can respect each other. Right. And that's a cycle.
It goes together.
It goes together. And somebody's always got to jump start the chain reaction. So the thing about care, I think, is that you got to care when you don't feel like caring, because if we wait until we feel like caring, that it's too late, and then damage is done. And so once somebody can be that noble person, goes, I'm just going to go first. I'm not looking for glory. I'm not looking for praise. I just want to go first to get this thing going for love and respect. All right. And
number 4 is commitment. This is our last point, but commitment. This is so big. If you're in a relationship right now and you love your significant other, you want to make sure and know that they want to know that you're committed, but you need to really express your commitment to each other. And we always say this thing that we don't talk about the D word being divorce. We don't even talk about it. It's not even an option. Like, lock the escape hatch and throw away the key. That's kind of our thing. We don't want that to be an option or on the table.
Yeah. When we first got married, actually it was a couple years in, we thought we were going to go overseas as missionaries.
Yeah.
And so we packed everything up into Melissa's 1988 Dodge Shadow. Do you remember that thing?
Yep.
I mean, it was a two-door car. It was so loaded down that I think that the muffler was dragging all the way from Portland to Chicago. We had all this stuff in there. I remember it was so packed that we had this little tiny TV, and this is like everything we own. We had this little tiny TV, and every time I would hit the brakes, for some reason that TV would come hit me in the back of the head as we were driving the car. So it was not the most glorious drive, but we thought we were supposed to go overseas to be missionaries, and I remember when we got there, it was not good. Like nothing went like it was supposed to.
Everything fell apart.
It was just so hard, and we were with this mission organization, and I remember the organization coming to me and Melissa, and they said, hey, this thing you signed up for is not going to work out, but you can pick any other thing in our organization that you would want to do. And our answer was, we don't have a plan B.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't come here with a plan B. So we just started praying, and God redirected us back to Portland. But that saying stuck with us about marriage. We don't have a plan B.
Don't have a plan B.
And so we don't use the D word. We don't talk about what if it doesn't work out. I mean, for us, that's just not an option. Like, we just don't have that category. We don't let that have mind space or heart space for us, because as well as we do, as soon as you crack that door, it's very difficult to close it again because people and forces want to open it. I mean, the truth is that the world does not actually support long-term, lifelong commitment in marriage. We have to fight for that, don't we? And that's what we want to do. We love the story in the Bible of Ruth and Naomi. You want to read that verse from Ruth?
Ruth says, don't ask me to leave you or turn back. Wherever you go, I will go. Wherever you live, I will live. Your people will be my people, and your God will be my God. Wherever you die, I will die, and there I will be buried. May the Lord punish me severely if I allow anything but death to separate us.
That's just a beautiful sentiment. And I mean, that was friendship, right?
That was a mother-in-law and daughter-in-law.
Yeah,
that's good.
Unlikely, unlikely relationship to have that kind of commitment.
Yeah.
And if they could do it as friends, how much more can we do it in marriage? And I think particularly if we look at our marriage as a friendship, we can go, well, I want that kind of friendship.
Yeah, nothing but death will separate us.
Right.
Yeah.
and so that's what we pray for in our own life, is that 100 years, hopefully, of wedded bliss. But what we found is that friendship is a commitment to stick together no matter what.
Yeah.
And hey, it is really easy to go, well, we'll stick together unless this, or this happen. You might have an internal list that goes, well, as long as you don't X, Y, or Z, then we'll stick together. But what if you actually were to say, nope, it would literally be death would separate us. That kind of commitment, it actually inspires that kind of commitment back in return. And it's sort of reciprocal when we make a lifelong commitment to somebody. And we let it be known, and we verbalize it, and we talk about it a lot. It's one of the reasons why we talk about our 100-year anniversary. Is like, we got plans. We're going to stick together for that long. And so every time there's something tough that comes up, we go, but we're going to be in Rome in 2095, and so it can't be that bad. And so we just hope that that's an inspiration to you as well.
Yeah.
A few ways that you can share your commitment with your spouse is, first of all, say it. And one of the things that remember when we first got married, we had to write out that list of 10 things we wanted in our home.
10 things we wanted in our home,
And we had to write out a list of 10 things we didn't want in our home. And so we made these lists. And one of the things we didn't want was we didn't want yelling. And so we've really not. I mean, yelling has not been a part of our home. Obviously, we get frustrated. I mean, we probably yell on the inside a little bit sometimes. But we've really tried to have a home of peace. But something that we did want was, we said 3 words: daily spoken love. Yeah. That every day we want to tell each other we love each other, and we want to make that an intentional thing. It's very common. I was dropping off my son at school before he started driving when he was 15, and I remember being shocked as a sophomore in high school at a public high school that I dropped him off. There was kids around. He opens the door, and I said to him, no, I didn't say anything to him. He opens the door. He gets out. He puts his backpack on, and he goes, I love you. And I'm like, dude, there's your friends are around. I'm looking around going like, I can't believe you just said that. But I was so excited. I said, I love you too. But I was so blessed that he would be like, okay, saying I love you out loud, outside.
But he
other
hears
people.
it all the time.
But that's it. Yeah, is that we say it. The other thing we think is to show it.
Show it.
And what are some ways you think you can show commitment?
Oh, by never bailing on each other. I mean, just by reinforcing it all the time with our actions. Yeah, for sure.
There's this certain judginess that happens sometimes when we do something dumb, and that when we can avoid that judginess, I think that's one way to show it.
For sure. Yeah. And then there's self-care.
Yeah, self-care. Like taking care of yourself shows that you want to be your best to be around, right, for the other person. Yep. Talk about, because you're really good at that. That's why we put it in the book. That's why I put it in the book, because I think I put that one in there because of you. Like, what are some ways that you take care of yourself?
Well, I'm kind of a gym rat, so I love working out. I want to stay healthy and strong. When COVID was happening and our gyms were all closed, I'd be out walking and doing HIIT workouts and core workouts and whatever I could to stay healthy and strong, because I want to be here for the long haul. And I want to be healthy and strong to be able to be a good spouse, be a good mom, be a good friend, be a good person. So working out, I go and get reflexology massages. I'm not even ashamed of it. They are my absolute favorite, and they make me feel so good. So I'm just saying, to reflexology foot massage is fantastic.
Yeah, I love the saying, it's hard to do well when you don't feel well.
Absolutely.
And so making sure that you're healthy is good. Melissa also has been really consistent. She's just a very consistent person. Much more so than me, but one of the things that our kids have caught her doing 1,000 times is reading her Bible on the couch. She's got the spot on the couch. It's her, it's our dog, and then Melissa's
right.
there, and she always has her fingers up to her ears because she's reading her Bible and wants just a little bit of silence.
Yeah.
But
I get distracted very easy.
Yeah, and everybody knows that if Melissa's sitting there on the couch like this, she's reading her Bible.
Don't bother
and
me.
The kids have just, and we've all learned from it, because it's been so really inspiring, just the way that you take care of your soul and your body so that you can be your best for our family, and that's something that I think we can all do. Talk about seasons.
Seasons. Well, life is full of seasons, and there's tough seasons and there's not so hard seasons, the fun ones. So there's mountaintops and valleys, and I think being committed during those is where it's at, because a lot of times when you get in that valley and you don't see the mountaintop, you don't see how you're going to get out of it, you've got to have that underlying commitment to say, you know what, no matter what, seasons may change, life may be hard, but I'm going to stay consistent, and I'm going to trust that I'm going to pull out of this and do better and be better, and then we're going to be together when we get back on the mountaintop again. So it can be really hard to go through those seasons, but if you have a tough marriage, you can make it through the tough seasons.
Yeah. We wrote in this line in our book, tough times don't last, tough marriages do.
That's right.
We stole that from somebody, but
I don't remember who.
But really great thought, that we can make it. And that's, I was thinking about the other day, somebody once told me, they said, if you ever leave me, I'm going with you.
Yeah, I'm going to go with you.
I love that. The idea is we're stuck together, and that's a part of friendship. And friendship is, if we will go back to the beginning, how our relationship started. Some couples don't start off as friends, and that's okay, because not every relationship starts the same. We did. We started off as friends, and then we started dating, and then we fell madly in love, and the rest is history. But some couples start out more, if you're dating online, you're going to start out more probably with a romantic interest. And sometimes you got to go back and backfill that friendship piece. But here's what I know. In difficult times, what is not always with you is romance. The passion isn't always there. The commitment, the friendship can always be there. And that's something that carries us through, like you said, the highs and the lows. And we just want to encourage you to take to heart the idea that God puts couples together to stay together, that God has demonstrated what friendship is for us and wants us to be able to do the same. So we would love to just pause and pray with you. And thank you so much for being a part of this devotional. We really hope the best for every single one of you. If there's something we can do for you, feel free to reach out. And I just want to pause and pray for you. God, thank you for everybody who's watching this now and who will watch it. We think about maybe there's men and women on here who have been married for a long time, or who've just gotten married, or who are thinking about getting married. Maybe there's people on here who have questions or doubts about their marriage, or who've been through a really hard time. In any case, thank you that that marriage is really just a reflection of your love for us as people. We thank you for Jesus. We thank you for your love. We pray your blessing on every single marriage represented here. And we thank you in your name. Amen.
Amen.
All right. Thanks so much, you guys.
Thank you for those that are commenting. I see some of your comments.
Awesome.
So thank you. And check out the book sometime if you want to. We talk about adventures, our second chapter, and what are some other chapters? Communication.
Yeah.
We have a section at the end on parenting. So I hope the book will be an encouragement to you guys.
All right. God bless you guys.